Living alone, especially as you grow older, is often portrayed as an experience of freedom and tranquility. The idea of having complete control over your time, being able to decide how and when to do things without being accountable to anyone else, sounds incredibly appealing. The independence that comes with living alone can be deeply fulfilling. However, while this vision is partly true, there are less glamorous aspects that are not often talked about. These are the details you only discover when you're faced with the reality of living alone in your later years. They are the truths that no one tells you about until you experience them yourself, until loneliness and the daily challenges become part of your routine. Over the years, I've gathered reflections and experiences from various platforms, forums, and online communities where many older adults share their insights about what it truly means to live alone at this stage of life. This collective wisdom reveals a mix of challenges and opportunities. What I'm about to share isn't just my perspective, but that of many people who have walked this path before me. And while not everything they've shared is easy to hear, it's also not entirely negative. It's simply the reality, unfiltered, and understanding it will allow you to be better prepared. So let's dive into those aspects of living alone as an older person that are rarely mentioned, and more importantly, let's explore how you can make the most of this stage of your life. One of the biggest and often unexpected challenges of living alone in old age is the reality that, in case of an emergency, you can only rely on yourself. Not having someone nearby who can immediately notice if something goes wrong can be one of the most frightening and unsettling experiences of solitary living. As we age, it's inevitable that our bodies no longer respond the way they used to. A stumble in the kitchen, dizziness in the bathroom, or a fall while going down the stairs can quickly turn into serious events. And when you live alone, the risk intensifies because there's no one there to help you right away. It's one of those things that you don't fully realize until you experience it, and then you understand just how vulnerable you can be. I've read multiple accounts from elderly individuals who, after having an accident at home, remained unassisted for hours or even days simply because no one was regularly checking on them. These stories are a stark reminder that when living alone, it's essential to take preventive measures to ensure your own safety. For instance, I remember reading about a man on a Reddit forum who started carrying his phone with him everywhere, even while taking a shower. At first, it might seem like an overreaction, but over time, he realized it was a necessary precaution to make sure that, in case of an emergency, he could quickly call for help. Additionally, some people have opted for more advanced technology, such as smartwatches with fall detection systems or medical alert devices. These tools not only provide peace of mind, but also allow you to maintain your independence without compromising your safety. For those living in more remote areas, far from neighbors or close family, these types of devices can make the difference between a quick recovery and a far more complicated situation. I remember reading a comment from a woman who shared her clever solution. She installed a secure key lockbox outside her house. This way, if something ever happened and she couldn't open the door, her trusted friends or family could access the house without having to break in. This small detail allowed her to live alone with greater confidence, knowing that if she ever needed help, her close circle could reach her without any major complications. The point here is that living alone doesn't mean giving up on safety, but it does require thoughtful planning. Being your own emergency backup isn't just a responsibility. It's also an act of self-love. Taking these precautions allows you to continue enjoying your independence while taking care of yourself and preparing for any eventuality. 2. Loneliness is a complex and profound issue that affects many older people living alone, even those who naturally consider themselves introverts. For many, the idea of living without interruptions, with total freedom over daily decisions, seems like the perfect scenario, and to a large extent it is. Introverts often cherish their time alone, enjoying the peace and space to reflect or engage in hobbies. However, there's a subtle yet important difference between being alone and feeling lonely, and that difference becomes more evident with age. As the years go by, many of the social connections we've built begin to fade. Close friends move to other places, some retire and prefer a more isolated lifestyle, and others, unfortunately, pass away. This leaves many older people with much smaller social circles than they used to have. While at first, it might not seem like a big deal, over time, that loneliness becomes a heavier burden to carry. I remember reading the story of an older man who shared his experience on a forum. Although he appreciated his independence, he acknowledged that there were days when he would go hours, or even entire days, without exchanging a single word with another person. He commented that while he enjoyed the peace that came with living alone, he deeply missed casual interactions, those small, everyday conversations that might seem insignificant but collectively bring warmth and meaning to life. He no longer had someone to comment on the weather with, to ask what was for dinner, or to share a simple reflection at the end of the day. What once may have seemed trivial had, over time, become something he truly missed. Loneliness, though tolerable in small doses, can turn into a significant emotional struggle when it becomes a constant. This doesn't mean that all older people living alone feel lonely, but many of them express in various forums and support groups that they face difficult moments when their social world shrinks and daily interactions become scarcer. A solution that many people have found is adopting a pet. While animals can't offer the same verbal companionship as a human, they provide a constant and comforting presence. Pets, whether dogs, cats, or others, bring with them a routine and a sense of responsibility, which can be especially valuable when living alone. A woman in a forum shared how her cat had been her emotional salvation during her years of solitude. "My cat doesn't talk," she said, "but he's always there when I get home, and that makes all the difference." That feeling of knowing that someone, even if not human, is waiting for your return adds comfort and structure to your days. The act of caring for another being, even an animal, offers a source of purpose and motivation. Having a reason to get up in the morning, feed your pet, or take them for a walk can drastically change a person's outlook, giving them a renewed sense of responsibility and connection. Additionally, pets not only provide companionship but can also help reduce stress, alleviate anxiety, and improve emotional well-being. The lesson here is that while loneliness may be an inevitable part of living alone, especially in older age, it doesn't mean you have to resign yourself to it. There are ways to counteract it, whether through adopting a pet, participating in community activities, or simply finding ways to regularly connect with others. It's possible to find balance. At the end of the day, it's about recognizing those moments of loneliness and taking action to fill them with something that brings joy and meaning. 3. Maintaining a home can become an overwhelming task as we age, an aspect of life that is rarely discussed openly. During our younger years, household chores may seem simple or at least manageable, but as time goes by, things change. Our energy levels are no longer the same, and what once felt like a routine task can now feel like a daunting mountain to climb. Household tasks, from cleaning the gutters to mowing the lawn, shift from being small responsibilities to real challenges. Chores that require physical effort, like vacuuming or moving furniture, can become exhausting and, at times, even dangerous for those who live alone and no longer have the same strength or agility. This isn't something many people warn you about as you get older, but it's a reality that many elderly people face daily. I remember reading the story of a woman who shared her experience on a forum. She had a list of home projects, small repairs, and improvements she wanted to make around the house. But as time went on, that list only grew longer. It wasn't that she didn't want to take care of her home, or that she didn't appreciate the value of living in a well-maintained space. It was simply that the thought of tackling all those tasks alone was overwhelming. Every time she looked at that list, the mental and physical fatigue would stop her from taking action. And this is something many older individuals understand. The desire to keep the home in good condition is still there, but the energy to do so is no longer the same. The reality is that as we age, we need to adapt our lives to our new capabilities. This means accepting that we can't do everything on our own, and that it's okay to ask for help. Whether it's hiring someone to take care of the heavier tasks, like cleaning the garden or fixing things around the house, or asking family and friends for support, it's important to remember that you don't have to carry the burden by yourself. Sometimes, simply delegating some of these responsibilities can greatly ease the feeling of being overwhelmed and bring back a sense of peace. Moreover, if the budget allows, an effective solution could be considering downsizing your home. Many people who have spent most of their lives in large houses, especially those who raised their families there, often feel a deep emotional connection to that space. However, When the children have moved out and the rooms are left empty, the size of the home can start to feel unnecessary and difficult to manage. Choosing a smaller living space not only reduces the number of maintenance tasks, but can also free up time and energy for more fulfilling and enjoyable activities. The idea of simplifying your home isn't about giving up comforts or memories, but about making room for a lighter, more manageable life. When your home becomes easier to maintain, it also becomes a more pleasant place to live. Lightening the physical burden of home upkeep has a direct positive impact on mental health, allowing us to focus more on the things that truly matter, enjoying hobbies, spending time with loved ones, or simply relaxing without the constant pressure of unfinished chores. Ultimately, the key is to recognize that it's not necessary to carry everything on your shoulders. Delegating, simplifying, and asking for help are not signs of weakness, but of wisdom. Living alone in old age brings many challenges, but it also offers the opportunity to redefine our lives according to our current needs. If you can make small changes, like hiring help or moving to a more manageable space, you'll be taking control of your well-being, removing unnecessary stress, and leaving more room for what truly matters. Enjoying life to the fullest without the overwhelming burden of maintaining a difficult home. For your daily routine becomes a sacred refuge, and that's completely valid. When you live alone, especially in the later stages of life, daily routines take on a deeper meaning and become much more than just simple habits. Often, when we share our space with others, whether a partner or family, our activities and schedules are influenced by the presence and needs of those around us. However, when that life companion or housemate is no longer there, the routine becomes the anchor that provides you with stability and a sense of control. Without that constant interaction, what once may have seemed insignificant or routine now becomes a fundamental pillar of your day-to-day life. I have read many personal stories that emphasize the importance of these daily rituals in the lives of older people who live alone. Without the presence of someone else to share household responsibilities or daily decisions, the structure of a routine becomes a source of comfort, a way to keep the mind focused and the spirit calm. For example, something as simple as having a cup of coffee every morning on the porch, listening to the birds sing, or feeling the fresh morning air can become much more than just a daily activity. It becomes a moment of connection with yourself, a small pause that marks the beginning of the day and gives you the chance to center yourself and set the tone for what's to come. A woman in her 70s shared in a forum how she begins each morning the same way, by playing her favorite song while making breakfast. For her, that melody, repeated day after day, is a way to fill the silence of the house and bring a renewed energy. It's her way of transforming an empty house into a home full of life. And when the noise of others is no longer present, finding small ways to fill that space with something that makes you feel good becomes essential. Another person, an elderly man, explained in a comment that what he looked forward to most in his day was the moment he watered his garden each afternoon. While it might seem like a mundane task, for him it wasn't just the care of the plants that motivated him, but the ritual itself. Watering his garden wasn't just an activity. It was a way to establish purpose and structure in his day. That routine gave him a sense of accomplishment, a way to feel productive, and to connect with something bigger than himself, with nature and the cycle of life. What these stories highlight is that routines are not just a set of habits repeated mindlessly. They are much more than that. They are the small anchors that keep you grounded, that give you a reason to get up in the morning and move through your day. They provide those moments of stability and normalcy in a world that can sometimes feel chaotic or uncertain, especially when you live alone. Far from being seen as something negative or boring, routines are how many people find peace, purpose, and a sense of control over their lives. Moreover, there is a special beauty in that quiet, in those small daily rituals that you control entirely. Some might see the act of sticking to a fixed routine as rigid or monotonous, but in reality, it's these rituals that can give life in solitude its own special charm. These are moments created and led by you, without having to negotiate with anyone else's needs or desires. They are entirely yours. And it's important not to let anyone make you feel that living with a routine is something bad. It's these small, everyday moments that make the experience of living alone special and unique. These rituals are the essence of your day-to-day life, and instead of seeing them as a burden, It's crucial to recognize them for what they truly are, a way to take care of yourself, offering emotional and mental stability. They provide the structure you need to feel grounded and in control of your life, something especially important as you enter your golden years. Ultimately, these routines are how you take the reins of your own well-being. So, whether it's your morning coffee, that evening walk, or the time you sit down to watch your favorite show, acknowledge the importance of those moments. Don't underestimate them, nor let anyone diminish them. These are the small rituals that give meaning to your day, and that in itself is something powerful. 5. Cooking for one may seem like a challenge, but it can also be a deeply rewarding experience. When you reach a stage in life where you live alone, especially in old age, something as routine as cooking can start to feel more complicated than it used to. Unlike the days when you cooked for a family or shared meals with someone, now there's no need to prepare large amounts of food. This can lead to moments when you ask yourself whether it's really worth the effort to cook a full meal just for yourself. It's a common feeling among those living alone, and I've come across countless stories of people who, to avoid the hassle, resort to quick solutions like frozen meals or takeout. Initially, it might seem like an easier and more convenient option. After all, why spend so much time cooking when it's just for one person? However, over time, some people have discovered that cooking for oneself can be much more than just a daily chore. It can become an act of self-care and self-love. I remember reading in a forum about a woman who, after years of relying on fast food for the convenience it provided, finally decided to change her perspective. She began to see cooking not merely as an obligation, but as an opportunity to take care of herself. A reminder that her well-being and happiness were worth the effort. This shift in mindset had a transformative impact on her daily life. Suddenly, cooking stopped being just a task and became a conscious act of dedication toward herself. Learning to love the experience of cooking for yourself, even if it may seem trivial, can completely change how you relate to your daily life. The key is to see it as a moment of connection with yourself. It's not just about preparing food to keep your body nourished, but about recognizing that you deserve to dedicate that time to yourself. It's a moment where you can take care of yourself, show that your well-being is a priority, and turn cooking into a pleasurable activity rather than a burden. One strategy that many have found helpful is batch cooking. Instead of facing the kitchen every day, set aside part of your weekend to prepare meals that can last several days. This way, not only do you ensure that you have something healthy and nutritious ready when you need it, but you also reduce the feeling of daily effort. Cooking in larger quantities and then dividing the portions into the refrigerator or freezer can ease the daily pressure while still guaranteeing that you're eating well. It's a way to simplify life without sacrificing your well-being. Some people, upon entering this new stage of life, have found an unexpected source of joy in cooking. For many, the kitchen has transformed from an obligation into a hobby. Experimenting with new recipes, trying ingredients you've never used before, or simply making a homemade version of your favorite dish can be a creative way to enjoy the process. It's a way to explore something new, to allow yourself the chance to play with flavors and textures, and to relish the act of creation without the pressure of having to please others. Cooking becomes a personal space where you can relax and have fun, beyond the immediate gratification of a delicious meal. Cooking for yourself becomes a symbolic act. It's a daily reminder that you are worth it, that you deserve the same care and attention you would give to someone else. Every time you prepare a meal for yourself, you're reinforcing the idea that your well-being and health matter, that you too are worthy of that effort. It's not just about feeding your body. It's about nurturing your mind and spirit, giving yourself the love that can sometimes be easy to forget when living alone. 6. Silence can be both a blessing and a curse. Silence is something that many don't anticipate will affect them so deeply when they start living alone, especially if they've spent much of their lives in bustling households or busy work environments. That calm, which at first seems like a blessing, can quickly transform into something unsettling, especially at night when the house feels too empty. For some, this quiet represents peace and tranquility, but for others, it can become a source of discomfort and loneliness. I remember reading about an older woman who shared her experience in a forum regarding this topic. She was used to the constant noise of her children, her husband, and the responsibilities of work, but suddenly found herself in a house where the only sound was the ticking of the clock. At first, she thought she would enjoy the silence, but as the days passed, that quietness started to feel overwhelming. To combat this feeling, she decided to leave the radio on all day while she did her household chores. It wasn't that she was really listening to the songs or the news, but the mere presence of some noise filling the space made her feel like she wasn't completely alone. Another man, also in a forum, explained that he constantly listened to podcasts throughout the day. For him, it was a way to feel like someone was conversing with him. It didn't really matter what the podcast was about. What mattered was the feeling of having virtual company. Whether it was music, audiobooks, or just the background noise of the TV, these small gestures helped break the silence and combat the loneliness that sometimes became so palpable. Silence, when living alone, can become a sort of mirror that reflects not only the quiet of the surroundings, but also your own thoughts and emotions. For those used to a constantly active environment, that calm can be disconcerting. The lack of external stimuli leaves room for deeper thoughts to emerge, and we're not always prepared to face them. This is why many people choose to fill the silence with external sounds, as it allows them to avoid or postpone confronting their own emotions. However, and here lies the paradox, silence can also be an invaluable gift. For many who have spent most of their lives surrounded by people, responsibilities, and constant noise, silence can offer a moment of respite, a space for reflection and self-awareness. This silence becomes an opportunity to pause, think, and reconnect with oneself. After years of working, raising children, or being immersed in a routine, having the freedom to enjoy the quiet can feel liberating. It's a moment to recharge, to meditate on past experiences, and to explore new perspectives on life. Silence can open the door to introspection, allowing thoughts and reflections to surface that rarely have space to be considered in the whirlwind of daily life. In those quiet moments, one can rediscover aspects of themselves that may have been forgotten or neglected. It becomes a time to process emotions, heal old wounds, and imagine the future from a place of calm. This type of silence, the one that invites reflection and inner peace, is something many people come to deeply appreciate over time. As they grow accustomed to solitude, they begin to find beauty in those moments of stillness. As one man shared in a forum, at first the silence seemed overwhelming, but over time I realized it was a space I needed to think clearly. He discovered that silence provided him with the opportunity to reflect on his life and make more conscious decisions. There are those who, after years of living surrounded by constant stimuli, come to long for those moments of absolute peace. In modern life, especially in cities where noise and movement never cease, having the opportunity to enjoy a truly quiet space is a luxury. That silence allows them to disconnect from external pressures and reconnect with themselves, with their thoughts, emotions, and desires. Ultimately, silence, like everything related to living alone, is what we make of it. It can be both a curse and a blessing, depending on how we approach it. But if we manage to find balance, it can become a powerful tool for well-being and personal growth. 7. You must be intentional about physical activity. As we age and live alone, it's common for opportunities to stay active to diminish. Without a partner or housemate suggesting a walk or shared activities, it's easy to fall into a more sedentary lifestyle. What might start as a small break to rest can, over time, become a routine of inactivity. The lack of someone to remind you of the importance of movement or to push you to stay active can gradually lead to a loss of mobility and energy. In numerous forums, many older adults have shared how, after living alone for a while, they began to notice changes in their physical condition. Some describe how, without realizing it, they stopped walking regularly or doing the small activities that used to keep them moving. One man mentioned how, without noticing, he had significantly reduced his daily walks and spent most of his day sitting. I didn't realize how much less active I had become until my body started to stiffen up, he confessed. This type of experience is more common than it seems, and it's a clear reminder that when you live alone, you need to be more aware and deliberate about your physical activity. The body, especially in old age, tends to respond quickly to inactivity. Muscle stiffness, loss of strength, and decreased flexibility can appear if you don't maintain a regular movement routine. It's not just about taking care of your physical health, but also your mental and emotional well-being. Movement helps keep us agile, but it also improves our mood, boosts our energy, and sharpens our mental clarity. The key, as many have learned, is to be intentional about physical activity. Unlike other stages of life, where movement can naturally occur through daily responsibilities or social interactions, when you live alone, you must take the initiative. Incorporating small physical activity routines into your day-to-day life can make a big difference. It doesn't require major efforts. Sometimes, the smallest changes have the greatest impact. For example, you can start by setting a daily step goal, something as simple as walking around the neighborhood or moving inside your home. Walking is an excellent way to stay active, as it is low impact and doesn't require any special equipment. A woman I read about in a forum decided to adopt a dog precisely to combat her sedentary lifestyle. She knew that by having a pet, she would need to walk every day to meet the dog's needs, and in doing so, she ensured that she herself would stay active as well. This type of solution is a perfect example of how we can find creative ways to keep ourselves moving, even when we don't have external motivation. Animals, especially dogs, not only require physical attention but also provide companionship and a sense of responsibility, which enhances both physical and emotional well-being. Another option that many have embraced is joining fitness classes specifically designed for older adults. These classes, tailored to the aging body, offer exercises that meet the physical needs of this stage of life. Additionally, they provide an opportunity for social interaction, addressing not only the issue of inactivity but also the feeling of loneliness. Exercising in a group not only keeps the body fit, but also adds a layer of social engagement, which is vital for emotional well-being. Physical activity doesn't have to mean going to the gym or undergoing intense routines. Many people have found simpler and more enjoyable ways to stay in shape. For example, everyday activities like gardening can become a form of exercise. By tending to plants, you stay active and stimulate your body without it feeling like a strenuous task. You can also have fun dancing in your living room. These kinds of activities not only keep the body moving, but also lift your spirits and break the monotony of the day. Another simple yet effective option is to choose the stairs instead of the elevator. This small change in your daily routine can help strengthen your legs and improve cardiovascular endurance. Plus, climbing stairs is a form of exercise you can do at any time, without the need for equipment or going to a specific place. It's these small, everyday decisions that, when added up over time, can have a positive impact on your health. Physical movement, in whatever form you choose, has benefits that go far beyond the physical. Staying active improves mental health, helps clear the mind, and can be an excellent way to release accumulated stress or tension. Additionally, physical exercise releases endorphins, the hormones responsible for the sensation of well-being, which helps improve mood and combat depression or anxiety. Common challenges in old age, especially when living alone. The key is to incorporate movement into your life in a way that doesn't feel like an obligation, but something you truly enjoy. 8. Your sense of time can change in unexpected ways. One of the most surprising experiences of living alone, especially after retirement or the loss of a loved one, is how your relationship with time can shift in ways you never anticipated, without the rhythms and activities of others in your immediate environment. Like a partner's work schedule or the comings and goings of children, the days can start to blur together. Suddenly, you find yourself without the usual reminders that once marked the flow of your daily life. This phenomenon is more common than it seems, though few people openly talk about it. Several individuals online have shared their experiences about how time, when living alone, can either stretch endlessly or, in other cases, slip away unnoticed. For example, a man on a forum mentioned how, after his retirement and the passing of his wife, there were days when he simply lost track of time. He often didn't know whether it was Tuesday or Thursday, or whether it was 10 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. Without the activities of others to mark the start or end of the day, time began to lose its structure and meaning. This loss of reference happens because when you live with others, your routine is often influenced by their schedules and needs. School runs, family meals, work commitments, or medical appointments used to be the anchors that provided a clearer and more predictable sense of time. Without these external markers, it's easy for the day to become a blank canvas, which can create a feeling of disconnection from time, something that can be both liberating and disorienting. The good news is that, even though time may seem blurry at first, you have the power to give your days new meaning and structure. The key lies in creating your own rhythm, one that fits your needs and preferences and helps you regain a sense of control over the flow of time. Many people have discovered the benefit of following a routine, even if it's flexible. Setting up small rituals or assigning specific tasks for each day can give you the same sense of structure you used to have. For example, you could decide that Mondays are for grocery shopping, Thursdays for cleaning the house, and weekends for relaxing or dedicating time to a hobby. This type of organization not only helps you maintain a sense of purpose, but it also allows you to break up time so it doesn't feel so long or empty. Having days set aside for certain activities gives you a reference point, a kind of compass that helps you navigate the passage of time in a more intentional way. In addition to setting routines, another strategy that many people find helpful is getting involved in activities that give them a reason to look forward to certain times of the day or week. For example, attending a weekly class or committing to a group activity can be a great way to mark your calendar in a way that not only keeps you busy, but also connected with others. If you enjoy gardening, you could dedicate your afternoons to working in your garden, giving your day a sense of structure and satisfaction. Some people enjoy preparing special dinners on Sundays, creating small weekly rituals that add deeper meaning to their days. It's important to remember that while establishing a routine can be beneficial, you should also allow yourself to enjoy the natural flow of time. Living alone gives you the unique opportunity to structure your days in a way that works best for you. There are no strict rules about how your day should unfold, and that flexibility can be a valuable gift. Now, you have the freedom to enjoy time on your terms, to take advantage of quiet moments for personal reflection, or simply to rest. Some days may be more active, while others may be more relaxed, and that's perfectly fine. However, it's essential to maintain a balance. While free time can feel like a luxury, having too much of it can lead to a sense of disconnection. That's why keeping track of time, even in a relaxed manner, allows you to make more conscious use of it. You can use a calendar or a planner to note important activities, or simply to visualize how you want your days to unfold. This not only gives you a sense of purpose, but also helps prevent time from feeling like something that's slipping away. 9. Letting go of things becomes both easier and harder when you live alone. The process of getting rid of your belongings takes on a completely new meaning when you live alone. On one hand, the freedom of not having to argue with anyone about what to keep or discard can make the process smoother and more straightforward. Without the influence of other opinions, you can make decisions based solely on your own feelings and needs. However, this apparent ease brings with it another type of challenge. Everything in your home becomes a representation of your life, and each item holds a personal story or memory. What might seem like a simple task of cleaning or decluttering actually becomes a deep reflection on who you've been and who you've become. Every photo, every book, every piece of furniture holds meaning that can stir up happy memories, nostalgic moments, and even painful ones. Letting go of these objects, then, is not just a matter of space, but of emotionally detaching from parts of your life that may no longer have a place in your present. I remember reading a comment from an older woman on a forum who, after many years of living alone, shared her internal struggle over which items to keep and which to let go. She said that although she knew she didn't need many of these things, she gave them sentimental value that made it hard to part with them. "It's just me," she said. "Who does it hurt to keep these things?" But at the same time, in her reflections, she wondered, do I really want to leave all this for someone else to sort through one day? This thought resonates with many who find themselves at the same stage of life, where objects aren't just material things, but extensions of their memories and experiences. This dilemma is something many people in online communities have expressed: the emotional difficulty of letting go of things when living alone, surrounded by memories you don't necessarily share with others. Objects take on a deeper emotional weight. Saying goodbye to them can feel like closing important chapters of your life, which can be painful, but it can also present an opportunity to free yourself from unnecessary emotional burdens. On the other hand, there's also a great sense of relief and freedom that comes with simplifying your surroundings. A man in his 60s shared his experience of deciding to downsize his belongings to make his life simpler, both for himself and his family. In doing so, he didn't just get rid of material things, but also experienced a kind of emotional purification. It gave me peace of mind knowing my home felt more manageable, he explained. For him, the process of simplifying wasn't so much about physical space as it was about the mental peace he gained by creating a lighter, more straightforward environment. Letting go of things when you're older and living alone doesn't have to be an act of radical minimalism, but rather an exercise in self-discovery and self-care. It's an opportunity for your space to reflect who you are now, not who you were in the past. It's important to allow yourself to keep the items that still bring you joy and meaning, but also to recognize that holding on to things that no longer serve you can be an unnecessary burden. In that sense, letting go of what no longer adds value to your life can be liberating, giving you the chance to focus on what truly matters in your present life. The process doesn't have to be overwhelming or rushed. Starting gradually, tackling one area of the house at a time, allows you to manage the task in a more manageable way. Most importantly, it's essential to allow yourself to feel the emotions that come with this process. Saying goodbye to objects that have been part of your life for a long time is no small thing, and it's normal to experience mixed feelings. But remember, this is your space, and you have the power to shape it according to who you are today and how you wish to live in the present. 10. Social invitations may decrease, but you need to create your own fun. One of the most surprising aspects of living alone as you age is how social invitations noticeably start to dwindle. It's not that people around you stop caring, but as friends and family progress in their own lives, with responsibilities such as work, raising children, or even moving to other cities, it's natural that their priorities shift. As a result, you may find yourself less involved in group activities or social events that you once regularly participated in. This can lead to feelings of isolation or disconnection. In fact, many people on forums have shared how, over time, they noticed that invitations to gatherings, dinners, or outings began to drop significantly. What was once an active social life can suddenly become quiet, which may leave a sense of loneliness. A woman in a discussion thread described how she used to wait by the phone, hoping for an invitation to go out or spend time with friends. But over time, she realized that this waiting only left her feeling more frustrated and lonely. Instead of continuing to wait, she made a key decision to be proactive in her social life. "I've learned that I need to be the one who takes the initiative," she explained. This advice is incredibly valuable. Rather than relying on others to invite you, you have the power to create your own fun and keep your social network alive. Creating your own social life doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as inviting a close friend for coffee, or something more elaborate like organizing a book club or a movie night in your living room. The best part is that, by being the one to plan, you control the experience. You can tailor the activities to your own interests and preferences, ensuring that each gathering is something you genuinely enjoy. An inspiring example was shared by a man in his 60s who mentioned that he decided to form a walking group in his neighborhood. Every Sunday, he and a small group of people would meet to explore different local trails. Not only did this help him stay active and healthy, but it also provided a way for him to connect with others who shared his interest in nature and exercise. By doing so, he not only kept his social life active, but also cultivated a support network in his community, all while engaging in something he was passionate about. This kind of initiative shows that, although living alone may seem like a more isolated experience, it actually offers you a great deal of freedom. The freedom to design your social life in a way that suits you best. You have the opportunity to be the driving force behind your social interactions, rather than waiting for others to take the lead. If you're passionate about crafting, for example, you could organize a DIY night at home and invite some friends to join you. If you enjoy a particular TV show or series, you can plan a weekly watch party, where you gather with others who also love that content. The most surprising thing is that when you decide to take control of your social life, it's likely that others will follow. Many people, just like you, are also looking for social connections, but may not feel comfortable taking the first step. By being the one who organizes, you're creating a space for others to join in, which can lead to a richer social life filled with shared experiences. The central message here is that you don't need to wait for someone else to include you. The real key is to be proactive, to design a social life that makes you happy and aligns with your interests. 11. It's easy to neglect self-care, but it's more important than ever. When you live alone, there's no one to remind you of the small details of your well-being. No one is going to notice if you've been wearing the same clothes for days or if you haven't taken the time to cook a proper meal. And it's precisely in this solitude where it can be easy to fall into a routine of neglect. Many people who live alone admit, in forums and conversations, that sometimes they ask themselves, "Who am I doing this for?" However, the key lies in understanding that everything you do for yourself. One man shared how, after years of living alone, he started to notice that he was letting a lot of things slide. He began skipping meals, wasn't showering as regularly as he used to, and spent too much time on the couch, without purpose. Over time, he realized that his lack of self-care wasn't due to laziness, but because he had forgotten that he, too, deserved the same care and attention he would have given to someone else. "I had to remind myself," he said, "that I deserve the same care and attention I would give to another person." Self-care isn't just about personal hygiene or maintaining a balanced diet. It's also about taking care of your mental health, nurturing your mind, and feeding your spirit. Maintaining balance in your emotional life is crucial, especially when there's no one around to give you that nudge or to notice when you're starting to neglect yourself. Self-care also involves taking care of your medical responsibilities, ensuring that you're up to date with your medical appointments, getting enough sleep, and finding moments to do things that make you feel good are essential actions to maintain your well-being. Simply creating a self-care routine can have a tremendous impact on your quality of life. A woman shared in a forum how she had developed a small personal ritual that made her feel cared for, even though there was no one else at home to notice. At night, she would light candles, put on a face mask, and dedicate time to reading a good book. While for some this might seem insignificant, for her, it was a sacred moment of self-care. A reminder that even though she lived alone, she deserved those small acts of self-love. It's crucial to make self-care a priority. Even when no one else is around to acknowledge your efforts, get dressed in the morning. Even if you don't plan to leave the house, cook meals that you enjoy, not just out of necessity, but because it's a way to remind yourself that you value who you are. Do things that make you feel good, whether it's taking a relaxing bath, going for a walk, listening to your favorite music, or dedicating time to a hobby that brings you joy. At the end of the day, even though you live alone, you deserve the best care possible, and only you can give that to yourself. The reality is that living alone can be challenging, but it's also an opportunity to become your own best ally. This is your time to discover what makes you feel good, what nurtures and balances you. Self-care is not a luxury or a secondary task. It's a necessity, especially when you're the only one who can take care of yourself. Living alone in your later years comes with certain challenges, but it also offers a unique chance to experience a life filled with personal satisfaction. The true beauty of this phase is that you have the freedom to design your routine and your space in the way that suits you best. You can decide how to spend your days, what activities to pursue, and how to find peace in moments of quiet. This freedom is a precious gift that allows you to create the life you've always wanted, based on what makes you feel fulfilled. However, it's important to remember that living alone doesn't mean you have to face everything by yourself. It's okay to ask for help when you need it, whether it's for household tasks or simply for companionship. It's not about being self-sufficient at all times, but about knowing when to lean on others. At the end of the day, being prepared for the unexpected and maintaining connections with family, friends, or your local community can make a huge difference in your overall well-being. Remember, you've overcome many stages in your life, and even though you're in this phase, there's still so much to be excited about. Life continues to offer moments of joy and discovery. Take the time to surround yourself with what brings you happiness, whether it's the unconditional companionship of a pet, the enjoyment of tending to a garden, or the satisfaction of getting lost in the pages of a good book. These small pleasures will remind you that, despite occasional loneliness, there's still so much to feel grateful for. And when those tough days come, those moments when the weight of loneliness feels heavier, don't forget that you're not truly alone. There are many people out there who, like you, are navigating this stage of life, seeking balance between independence and mutual support. There's a community out there, people with similar stories who, like you, are learning how to live fully in this chapter of life. So, if you ever feel the need to share what you're going through, don't hesitate to do so. Sharing your thoughts and experiences will not only help you, but it can also serve as a source of inspiration and comfort to others. If you enjoyed this video and it made you reflect, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future content. Thank you for joining us and being part of this community.